not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy. Bad guy. That's the bad guy. 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 The bad guy.
Load up that queen.
In the courtroom lights, truth's gonna bend. Heffernan standing tall, trying to defend. Said it looked bad on paper, but it's all deeper. Politics lurking, call it a grim reaper. Eddie was just a kid, caught in the fray, but the power players had a game to play. From day one, they wanted him to fall. A kid in the spotlight, crushed by it all. Heffernan knew the truth. No, it ain't fair. Politics behind the scenes, no one would care. Guilty or innocent, the verdict was set. Justice wasn't blind, it was a political bet. Dr. Bonham was chosen, thought he would be right, a face of fairness in that long, dark night. But the DA smiled wide, played both sides slick. Heffernan thought neutral, but maybe that's the trick. With a stroke of a pen, my ruling was sound, but the world turned again. They needed him guilty to fit their plan, change the laws mid-game. Oh, what a scam! Heffernan knew the truth. No, it ain't fair. Politics behind the scenes, no one would care. Guilty or innocent, the verdict was set. Justice wasn't blind, it was a political bet. Juvenile court, he should have stayed there. 20 years, not a slap, but no one would care. System in panic cause he stood his ground, but the wheels of justice just turned him around. They wanted Eddie down, they wanted him lost. With the stakes so high, he paid the cost. Heffernan's truth reigned clear in the dark, tried to bring light but it missed the mark. Eddie, a kid caught in a game, lost in the shuffle, society's shame. So here's the lesson carved deep as stone: justice shouldn't wear a political tone. Heffernan stood firm, knew it wasn't just. In a world focused on power, who can you trust? Heffernan knew the truth. No, it ain't fair. Politics behind the scenes, no one would care. Guilty or innocent, the verdict was set. Justice wasn't blind, it was a political bet. The tales of the innocent, the truth yet told. Heffernan knew the truth, and it cuts like a knife in the courtroom of power. of a life.
There we go. There we go. What's up, everybody, man? How we doing? I know you're so cool. You're so cool. What's happening, everybody, man? How we doing today? Happy to see y'all. Hopefully, y'all happy to see me. You know, but what is going on, people, man? How are we doing? What's going on out there on this friggin' hot ass day? I mean, is it getting more humid, or am I just getting older and shit? You know, like, boy, is it humid out there. It is like ridiculous. What's going on, everybody? How we doing? What's crack-a-lacking? You know, shout out Free Eddie. You know, shout out Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien. How you doing? Shout out Patricia White. What's going on? How we doing, man? You know, I try to bring you. It's tough going live every day, you know, but I try though. I try. But how is everybody doing? You know, absolutely, what is going on? You know, what is going on? You know, but yeah, we always looking into the DNA, you know, with the Eddie O'Brien case. You know, you look back to 1997. You know, we'll definitely get into that. Before that, I wanted to, let's see, where was I going with this? You know, but today, yeah, I figured today we'll talk a little bit more about the blood evidence. You know, blood that couldn't really make up its mind back then in 1997. Yeah. Wifey was telling me that something about the fire in Canada, and I was kind of looking at her like, okay. You know, shout out to wifey, man. I sent it to the supermarket, you know, go do some food shopping. It's tough, man. It's tough. I wish I was one of the lucky ones that has some food stamps. I'm like, where? Give me some food stamps. Spending 500-600 at the market. I'll take some damn food stamps. You know, but nope, we're not on that tax bracket. You know, we're not on that tax bracket. You know, a kid was telling me the other day that he was like that. He collects Social Security in England, bringing hazy skies, air quality alert issued. Let's see. Let me share this with y'all. He has to claim anything he makes to Social Security. That's what I thought. I was like, 5,000 to 8,000 a month. Social Security might have an issue with that, you know. But I was like, wow, you know, because they cut my wife's Social Security because I was working. You know, she got Social Security for a long time, even way before we got married. So it says teen kills 5 family members, 21 to 74 in Rampage. 2 teenagers, I guess, are in custody after a multi-location. Damn, like, slow down with this shit. You move it a little bit and it goes like, Jesus, what are you doing to me? Where was it? Freight train engulfed in flames. A freight train engulfed in flames. Video from inside the cab showed the landscape burning orange as the driver said, "This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary." Despite being encircled by fire, all crew members survived safely, according to the Free Press Journal. Shout out to the Free Press Journal. In Montreal, the sky turned yellow on Tuesday morning as smoke drifted in from wildfires in northern Quebec. More than 100 million people have been placed under heat alerts. Imagine how hot it must be out there to hit 38 Celsius and humidity, making conditions feel hotter still. Oh, I can imagine. You know, I could imagine. Let's see if we can get some video of the fire. Let me check X out. You know, see how bad these fires are. Yeah, where's my phone?
Us here. This is getting a little scary.
Yeah.
Oh, this was inside the train.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, y'all
Y'all can see that?
need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames
You
now.
guys gotta go backwards.
Wow, look at that, huh? Whoa.
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling you, we're notching up.
Yeah, this has got to move fucking quick here.
Absolutely. Wow.
Holy crap. Oh, that's all right. This kind of burnt off, so we'll be okay now.
Yeah, it went across. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, yeah, look over there.
That
You're-
is
You guys got a light now, or what? Did you guys get that light? Oh, yeah, they're clipping.
Oh, they're
Woo!
moving.
That's a meat
Oh,
and a
that's
half,
another
eh?
train coming. Wow. That was insane. Like driving through the fire. That was totally insane. Oh, where's my phone, man? Hang on, people. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's totally crazy. In this instance,
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here.
crazy.
Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now. Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling them you were notching up.
Yeah, this has got to move fucking quick here. A little scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Holy-
definitely hot enough out there.
Y'all need to hurry up here. Like,
All right, yeah, this is the same
y'all need
one.
to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
You guys gotta go backwards.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there.
Look at on fires, man, stretching, and that's the wind. Wow. Oh, you gotta wash your window. Well, yeah, there we go. I just figured I'd check on and see some of the fires. Oh, look, they're dropping the water. The fire line, they call it, right? Control burns to help reduce devastation from wildfires. Okay. They do this sometimes, not far from control burns. They go around the big area on fire. They do that so they can pretty much keep the fire from where they want it. This guy's just going around everything. is so cool. It says on the Quebec side, the fires in northern Ontario are absolutely devastating and getting worse every day. Do you ever see how they fill up the helicopters with the water? Look at that, that is so cool. We have SpaceX that can't fight wildfires that are destroying everywhere. You got a point there. You definitely got a point there. We lost half of California. That was devastating. Oh, we're at wall of fire.
Canadian wildfire
He said it's like breathing
smoke
in
is
tar.
pouring into the United States in copious quantities. It's going to cause white or orange skies, low visibilities, and severely degraded air quality. If we look in the MyRadar app, we can see some very serious wildfires burning in northwest Ontario. And our satellites are detecting those hot spots as the fires continue to expand. So that's where all the smoke is coming from. And it's being pulled into the United States by spinning pressure. Here's another close-up showing those smoke plumes. Now at the surface, most of the smoke is pouring southeast behind a cold front. Northwesterly winds behind the front are carrying the pollution in our general direction. So the ground smoke is going to... On Thursday, you'll smell it in like DC, in Pittsburgh, New York State, northern Ohio, northern Indiana, northeast Illinois, maybe around Chicago, and then pretty bad across Michigan and especially the upper Midwest. By Friday, nothing changes. Still toxic smoke-induced smog over the upper Midwest, especially Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, the UP of Michigan. But then look, now the Mid-Atlantic, including DC, Baltimore, Philly, you're unhealthy too. In the MyRadar app, we can see air quality beginning to get real bad near the international border, and that's heading east. That's why on Thursday, we have a code purple air quality alert in the upper Midwest. That is the worst category. Across Michigan, the entire state has a code red. And now we have a code orange for Maryland, DC, Virginia, New Jersey as well. And I think this will likely continue in waves for weeks, not days. You see, at the upper levels, the smoke is being squeezed between a counterclockwise spinning low pressure system in Quebec and a clockwise spinning high to the south over the U.S. In between, the jet stream funnels through, bringing the smoke with it. And look at the pattern for the next few weeks. Persistent troughing with that counterclockwise spinning low over eastern Canada. And so until that moves late month and until the smoke finally stops, i.e. the fires are extinguished, we get more smoke being swirled southeast. So that's why we'll continue to see upper echelon episodes of severe smoke across the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. And that will continue to cause the sky to turn orange at times or white as we filter out those shorter wavelengths. And keep in mind, the smoke contains fine particulate matter. We call it PM 2.5, microscopic, itty bits of soot, other hydrocarbons that you want to breathe in. Think about it this way. If you were at a campfire and the smoke plume started wafting towards you, you'd move your chair. You don't want to breathe that in. Same thing here, but a much bigger smoke plume. So I hate to say it, it's probably time to break out the N95 masks. If you can smell the smoke, it's not good for you. Break out the masks, minimize time outdoors, don't go for an outdoor jog, maybe bring recess inside if you're a school administrator. And of course, we'll keep you updated in the MyRadar app.
But yeah, so them are the fires. That's what's going on today over there in Canada. All week, really. It's been going on all week long.
Square one was a stage, the scripts were all signed. Before the first siren, before the yellow line, a kid from the corner, a town in a cage. They traded his youth for the front page rage. 30 long years in a shadow-bound cell for a story they manufactured to sell. But ink starts to fade and the truth starts to bleed when power and ambition are all that they need. This is Eddie's truth, rising from the floor, knocking like thunder at the courthouse door. You can bury the facts, you can script out the youth, but you can't lock away Eddie's truth. Yeah, the silence is breaking, the walls have to fall. Eddie's truth is gonna outlive them all. They talked about justice, but looked at the polls, trading a life for their political goals. Nash wrote the pages, the web spread the light, exposing the ghosts that were manufactured that night. The Somerville streets know the weight of the lie, how a gavel can swing while the innocent cry. But July brings the motion, the Rule 35, to strip all the grease from a rigged up trial. This is Eddie's truth, rising from the floor, knocking like thunder to the Somerville streets. Knocking like thunder at the courthouse door. You can bury the facts, you can script out the youth, but you can't lock away Eddie's truth. Yeah, the silence is breaking, the walls have to fall. Eddie's truth is gonna outlive them all. Just the truth. Eddie's just a boy from Somerville, caught in the storm, innocence shattered in a world so torn. They said it was fear, reopening the doors, filled with whispers behind closed floors. A white boy convicted made it look fair, but in the shadow of justice, the truth laid bare. Eddie was a name, but just a pawn in the game, sacrificed and railroaded. Nothing felt the same. Oh, just a boy from Somerville. They played with his life as if it was a thrill. Politics and pressure, shadows at play, innocent hearts lost in this twisted ballet. Barnum was under pressure, he folded like glass. The DA showboating, just trying to amass. The system wanted justice, but justice was blind, changing the laws, leaving truth far behind. Remove the judge who dared to be just. Eddie was demonized in the world's cruel thrust. Size mattered not when politics run deep. From day one he fought, but all they did was sweep. Oh, just a boy from Somerville. They played with his life as if it was a thrill. Politics and pressure, shadows at play, innocent hearts lost in this twisted ballet. And those inside knew the story was wrong. We could have done better, sang the old wrong song. Experts pressure to twist the truth arm in the court of despair. There was no charm, he never stood a chance. From the very start, a tragic confession, a broken heart. Watch Eddie's face when the world turned cold. An innocent spirit caught in a tale retold. The system failed him, that much is clear. A boy from Somerville, lost in his fear. Yet in the ashes life, it was a thrill. Politics and pressure, shadows at play, innocent hearts lost in this twisted ballet. So let's tell this story, raise voices, unite for every Eddie. Let's stand up and fight. Just a boy from Somerville, forever will stand in the heart of the people. His truth in our hands.
All right, I'm back. Put up this song. But what's going on, everybody? How we doing today? Everyone should be up to date by now with Margot's book. It's postponed a couple weeks, but I think the August 7th. I think there might something still be going on for that date. I think the family's trying to work on something. But what's going on, everybody, today? How we doing? You know, we looked at some of the wildfire videos, which were crazy. You know, they said up there closer to Canada, it's like breathing in tar. You know, they said it's really bad, you know, to breathe that stuff in, man. But I was reading some of the Eddie O'Brien stuff today. You know, something about the blood work. You know, blood is supposed to be the truth teller. You know, just like DNA. You know, DNA is like the snitch that don't lie. You know, but in this case, man, that blood was acting like every cousin who swears they didn't touch their leftovers, even though, you know, the container is probably still sitting in the damn garbage. You know, they had everyone's blood work lined up like a police lineup. You had Eddie's, you had you know, O'Brien's, you had Paul Down Jr. all standing there like, oh, it wasn't me, bro, it wasn't me. And the labs out here doing tests that was so outdated. You know, but I think the first test went back to like 1995. The blood reacted to Eddie's type. Right? Then some of it reacted to nobody's type at all, it was saying, which I didn't really understand that. You know, when they started talking about that part of the blood. But I guess it's not just about the blood that really got me kind of curious today. It's about how sloppy that they were with running these tests. You know, it's like a bad test can become a bad theory, you know, and it could point, you know, it can become a bad conviction, you know. You know, you look at that, the Eddie O'Brien, the truth was always there, right? It was always staring in your face. It's still staring in your face. You know, I mean, if you think Eddie, I mean, I know most people in here, you know, is free Eddie. So I was going to say, if you think Eddie is innocent, you know, press a 1. And if you think he's guilty, put a 2 in the chat. You know, the people that were searching for Eddie's DNA, I mean, they were part of the problem. You know, but when we're talking about the Eddie O'Brien blood evidence, you know, or I like to call it receipts to crime scene left behind. You know, it wasn't just about the blood. It was about how how the receipts got wrinkled, got passed around, like it was some badass DoorDash receipt. And when you look into the evidence book, the evidence log, it has a whole lineup of blood stains, that they were taking. You had blood on Eddie's sneakers. You had blood on the front door, cellar stairway, kitchen floor, cellar doorknob, cellar wall, cellar door, wooden post, on the sidewalk. Known blood samples from Janet and Eddie O'Brien. So if it had a surface, it had blood on it because they said the crime scene looked like somebody filmed a horror movie and forgot to clean up. And then there was the chain of custody screw up, right? The lab worker, what was their name? McGilvray or something like that. McGilvray, or, is supposed to notice shit, when the evidence was sent, who picked it up? I think she was like, oh, I think it was a state trooper. Well, who? Did you get any identification? Who received it, right? Where did it go? Did the FBI division handle it? And what the lady said was like, I don't know. I don't recall. I'm not sure. I can't remember. You don't remember who took the blood? And there's suspicion that Eddie's blood was placed at the scene, but you don't know who took the blood. And all she said, it was a trooper. But did you get the name? Oh, I can't recall. So you got a whole murder investigation, right? And the chain of custody is given, like, some dude came and got the evidence. What do you mean some dude came and got the evidence? Who? Oh, I don't know, some guy. He said he was a cop. Oh, all right. So you just gave it to him? Well, yeah. Some dude, huh? Was it a neighborhood porch pickup? Like some dude that's it? Yeah, some dude. I mean, we're on an independent testing, right? She ends up cutting each sample in half, one for the state, one for the defense, and that part's kind of normal, right? But everything around it just where all this blood work is just a total shit show. So she packages the samples for the FBI, right? But didn't know when they arrived. Didn't know who signed for them. What department got them. Didn't know any of that stuff. Like evidence can be mishandled. It happens all the time, right? Documentation is friggin' sloppy. Critical steps, are often very, very much forgotten about. And I mean, it's not just messy, it's legally dangerous. And Eddie O'Brien's seen that shit firsthand. Still seen that shit firsthand. So, they had blood from the sneakers, the door, the kitchen floor, the cellar, the sidewalk. God damn, you have blood everywhere. You had blood basically everywhere. This is a picture of the day after. We had to do a lot to get these pictures cleaned up, but I think they cleaned up very, very, very nice. And this is here we go. Riley and O'Reilly, game planning how they're going to set Eddie up. And all of the blood evidence was supposed to be carefully logged in, tracked, delivered. But instead, a trooper picked it up whose name she couldn't remember. And she said it like describing, the Amazon driver dropped off a package. He left it over there. Like, that was about, like, that's kind of what it was like. That's kind of like the blood that couldn't make up its mind. Absolutely. So you got blood evidence, like, I mean, let's start with Eddie's right shoe, right? I think it was like 97, right? They ended up going to a real lab, and was it 97? Yeah, I think it was, right? So let's start with Eddie's right shoe, right? So the blood on the right shoe, when it got the cell mark, they said the new results said it could be Adi Ortiz, Paul Downing Sr., and Paul Downing Jr. They could not be excluded as contributors. And what does that mean? It means that the blood belongs to any one of them dudes. And that was the blood on Eddie's shoe. So you could pick one. It's like the blood was saying, I ain't telling y'all who I belong to. You figure it out. It was one of these three idiots. So then we look at the blood that was in the hallway floorboard, right? So when we get to the hallway floorboard, the stain was a group project, right? Multiple people, blood was mixed together. You had Janet's blood was in there. Another blood stain was in there. And when the chemist at the lab tested it, she got a result indistinguishable from Janet. What does that mean? It means that the blood looks like Janet's. What do you think it means? But also it could be Paul's, and it could be Adi Ortiz. So technically it could be any one of them. So don't think Adi Ortiz is out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Paul Jr. too. Paul Jr. looks very, very good for this. Allegedly. Now let's talk about item number 36, right? The wooden cellar post. Let's talk about that. The wooden post in the basement.
Not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
Now this shit's acting up today. But when you look at the wooden post in the basement, right? So the prosecutors asked, right, who were the possible contributors, when you have everyone's blood sample, right? And the chemist, right, McGilvray, says Paul Downing. Just like that, no hesitation at all. But remember, earlier, she said multiple people couldn't be excluded on the other items. So this whole thing is kind of given, depending on what test you're looking at, the blood belongs to whoever the prosecution wants it to belong to today. That's how crazy, like, all this blood shit was. And I think it exposes a lot of major issues. When I was reading the chart, right, that was shown to the jury, right, it didn't match updated science. And the prosecutor used the old results. Of course he did, because the new results didn't give him the results that Riley wanted. You know, the ones that said multiple people couldn't be excluded. Those didn't make it onto the chart. Of course they didn't. That's like showing a jury a weather report, right, from last week and saying, see, it wasn't raining the day of the murder. No shit, Sherlock. But outside the courtroom, it was pouring. Blood evidence is not always. It wasn't really pouring. That was like a metaphor. Multiple people can make the same profile, right? And sometimes these charts that the prosecutors bring you, they're misleading. And if the jury doesn't see the updated science, which they should have been using, you know, they're making decisions without the updated information. And this was all Bob George's responsibility. You know, it was Bob George's responsibility to get the updated science, but the updated science didn't help Bob George. You know, it didn't help him. It was messy. It was indecisive, you know. When they went to Selmark in 97, okay, now we're talking, right? Now we have a reputable lab. And when it came to Eddie's shoe, that blood could have belonged to Adi, could have belonged to Paul Sr., it could have belonged to Paul Jr. You know, either one of them. The hallway, again, you know, Janet's blood mixed with someone else's blood. But we know it wasn't Eddie O'Brien's. Then we talk about the post in the cellar, right? And the blood, think you're going to act brand new and say, oh, yeah, that one's Paul's. You know, it all told a story. But if Riley, who's the head district attorney, he could just do whatever he wanted to do. Guy could have did anything he wanted. Anything he wanted, he could have friggin' done. You know, we see like how much evidence. You know, you look at Bob George, you know, and you look at how much he screwed shit up. You know, when we talk about Jan's two boys, what's it, Paul and Brian, right? Because if contradictions were currency, right, these two would have retired early. Paul Jr., right, gave 2 grand jury testimonies. You know, he talks about, oh, it was 8 o'clock when I was there, or it was 8:30, make up your mind. And somehow he contradicted himself in both of them. You know, how do you screw up your own story that fast? Paul couldn't keep his lies straight long enough to finish, you know, to finish much of anything. And Ryan wasn't any better. he jumped around, like he was, on a music playlist, just shuffling around. And every time this kid talked, the prosecution's theory needed, an explanation, an update, or some shit. But when we looked at the science part of this, right? But when everyone's talking is one thing, but when you look at the science, because the crime scene was screaming, whoever did this, it wasn't Eddie, right? No fingerprints, no DNA. DNA was excluded. The serology matching Eddie. The prosecution looked at all of that shit and said, shh, the jury don't need to hear that. Really? Imagine building a murder conviction with no physical evidence, and that's just what Riley did, And like I said, that's not a case. That's a group project where everyone lied about doing their part. Evidence that was hidden, the exculpatory evidence, the locations they were redacted that the jury never saw. And it places Eddie somewhere else. So Riley's timeline basically relied on Eddie being able to teleport himself. He must have had, some type of powers. But the whole case collapses. Like this was a true crime group. That's what the jury was asking, talking, speculating, doing everything but following the damn instructions. And this is now one of the main grounds for Eddie's Rule 30 motion, that the jury wasn't impartial. They were freestyling. So y'all. Today's show didn't work out kind of like what I wanted to do. My computer's acting up a little bit, so we kind of freestyled this one a little bit, and I know it wasn't that great, but at least we got on here, we talked a little bit. Appreciate everybody. I appreciate you all. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. You know where I stand?
Yeah. All right, we out of here, yo.
These walls echo my name, but they don't know my truth. Captured in a frame, but my spirit's bulletproof. Took my freedom away, but couldn't silence my call. That whisper in the night, I'm innocent after all.
I am still here. Hear my voice, can't you see?
I rise with the sun.
Can nobody bury me? I am still here.
Hear my heart, can't you feel? Truth runs deep within.
It's the only thing that's real.
Yeah. Counting down the years, but seasons on pause. Watch my dreams fade like light behind bars. Hope is my anchor, a lifeline in the storm. Warmed by time, but my spirit won't conform. They label me a ghost, but my heart's still alive. The weight of a crime that I never contrived. No truth could change me, no lie could erase who I am inside. Rooted deep in this place.
Every sunrise whispers, justice will find a way.
I keep my head high.
On the wall, longing to be free.
Yeah. Refuse to let bitterness define my legacy. Instead I hold faith, letting hope set me free. One day these gates will swing wide, truth to walk with pride. And when that moment comes, I'll be standing side by side.
Until that day arrives, I'll stand tall in my fight. Keep saying who I am, voice echoing through the night. I carry my story
still being written.
One day I shall be free. I'll chase the dawn, I'll seek the light, I won't back down.
With every step I take,
I'm claiming solid ground.
In a world made of shadows, where the truth feels far away, you find yourself behind bars for a price you didn't pay. Fight your case with every breath you take, standing on your truth in the face of all this heartbreak. I didn't do this, you shout, but they turn their heads away, ignoring echoes of your innocence. You face another day. And what does the parole board say? Drowning in the protocol. You show no remorse. You're not fitting the role at all. How you gonna take responsibility for a storm you didn't cause? Like blaming someone for the rain just because they were outdoors. The system don't care about your truth, they care about compliance. Confess to a crime uncommitted. That's your only guidance. It's a trapdoor either way. No escape from their design. Parole board wants confessions, not a hint of reason or a sign. Not seeking justice, but looking for neat boxes checked as they mold a simple story, leaving your truth wrecked. 20 years in, you still stand tall, saying I didn't do this. They don't celebrate your honesty. It's lost in all the myths. How you gonna take responsibility for a storm you didn't cause? Like blaming someone for the rain just because they were outdoors. The system don't care about your truth. They care about
the day hit different, phone rang like a church bell toll. Told the boy at the tavern, Saturday night shell crack. Stories he told. 4 deep in the whip, mission sealed in black ink. He wrote a check, his ass couldn't cash. Now we coming to collect that link. Town tavern, lights low, shadow dancing on floor. We slid in quiet wolves and sheep clothes. Eyes locked on the sword, sat across like chess masters. Arms ready to flip the board, no retreat, no surrender. 4 horsemen, death have been called. Heard her in the tavern, slow motion, thinking safe in his cup, but the reaper sent fall. Now the bill coming due. What's up? When guilt is where they he wrote that check, now his ass in the red through the heat rise. But the ratchet skin still popped up. Ate the turtle that night. Turtle in the tavern, slow motion, think he's safe in his cup. But the reaper sent foe, now the bill coming due. Feel the heat rise inside the spot. Tension thick like fog in the graveyard mist. One hitter goes to the bar, poking the bed, trying to get a reason to twist. Give me your look, give me your your word, make this personal, fool. Turtle boy sipping slow shell, sucker tight, acting cool. Boss on the line, voice cold. He with a ratchet, whole position. Didn't plan for the extra variable. Skank in the equation, phone buzz twice. Heartbeat sync with the bass in the back. Hit the check and just twitching, ready to pack the whole scene. Black, metaphors in motion. Turtle versus the hawks in flight. Shell made a pixel, blog alike for real, still in sight. Ratchet turn savior, hood on my lipstick like war paint. One wrong move and the whole tavern turned to a horror scene. Fake boss said I'll call you back. Line wet, dead like a ghost. Then it rang abort mission. Stand down, let the turtle boast. The ratchet scale saved them. Unintentional guardian angel glow. Turned 4 killers to civilians with a presence alone. Turtle boy exhale, never knew how close death did creep. Broke them blogs like swords, but that night his pen almost sleep. 4 guys dipped out, shadows melt back into the dark. Lesson learned, Turtle got away that night.
Made of shadows,
left his mark. Next time, no ratchet shield, shall get cracked, no rehab. But tonight he walked free, and that's a different path. Go.